Joining us now is Doug Suttles, the Chief Operating Officer for BP Exploration and Production. Mr. Suttles, good morning.
Good morning, Maggie. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to join you.
Thank you, sir. This morning we're learning that the leak from this well is 5 times worse than originally estimated. Yet we just heard you say in our report that you don't believe this will change the amount that's estimated to be released into the ocean. I'm not an expert, but how is it possible that 4,000 additional gallons leaking a day does not change the equation?
Well, Maggie, let me first I should probably say, just like everybody, you know, our real focus and what we want to occur is to stop this leak as quick as we can. And of course, we're trying to do that both below the sea and prepare to respond on the surface. But I should probably explain that on the difference between 1 and 5,000 barrels a day. And what we tried to explain is that what we're seeing through the remote operated vehicle cameras on the seafloor hasn't actually changed. So physically, those images are the same. Now, of course, it's horribly difficult to estimate what the flow is, but what we can see is the amount of oil on top of the water. And based on the fact of what we're seeing on the surface, that's actually what we can almost measure. We can take these aerial views. We think that the range has increased of what the estimate has been. So I think that somewhere between 1 and 5,000 barrels a day is probably the best estimate we have today.
It's a big difference, though, between 1 and 5, isn't it?
Well, it clearly is. Clearly there's a difference between 1 and 5. But in terms of our response, it actually doesn't change. Our spill plan actually recognized these amounts, and actually what we're going to do out in the field, out on the surface of the sea, actually doesn't change based on that number. I mean, we're still actively working to as the Admiral constantly says, fight this offshore through a combination of our skimmers using dispersant. And of course, yesterday we came up with something new, which is in situ burning when we did our first burn that worked.
No one wants to see even 1 gallon of oil leak. And I understand that this rig did not have a remote control shutoff switch called an acoustic switch. I know it's not required, but other countries use it, and it would have allowed a crew to shut off the well even if the rig was damaged. Is there a reason BP chose not to do this?
Well, I think first you should know that there are multiple safety devices which should have brought the flow to a cease when the event happened. Some of these devices are supposed to happen automatically, and some are triggered by the crew. We do know that the ones triggered by the crew were activated. We do know that the devices down on the seabed we've activated since that time and should have activated when they occurred. What I don't know, Maggie, is why the flow didn't stop. I can't see inside of the BOP to understand why it haven't stopped. So we shouldn't actually assume that this acoustic switch would have also caused it to stop.
Doug Suttles, thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thanks, Maggie. Thanks for the opportunity.
You're welcome. And I just realized that I misspoke several times and said gallons where I meant to say barrels. And I want to make that distinction because barrels, of course, significantly more. And it is 5,000 barrels a day estimated to be leaking now from that rig.
A lot happens early on The Early Show, weekday mornings on CBS.